Dr. Nels, tell me about, right now, they're putting out this stuff on, today The Guardian had this huge article how all the intelligence groups around the world are going to work to make sure there's not false narratives and misinformation. The very first thing they said, they had the intelligence heads about the types of intelligence, misinformation and disinformation, that's the number one virus going around the world. The number one thing they said, yeah, they used an example. Bioweapons labs in Ukraine. Hey, I thought Victoria Nuland basically copped it, she copped that in front of testimony with Marco Rubio, and she says, oh, we have to go to classified hearing on that. She doesn't say, no, we didn't have them, and they use this as the example. The indoctrinated mind. Well, how far down the path are we to the indoctrinated mind that we're not going to be able to pull out of this?
Well, you mean the indoctrinated brain? But it's quite the same. It's mind-boggling. What's going
Mind's
on?
deteriorated from a mind to a brain now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing at the end. No, we are far on this road already. Actually, you just mentioned the hearing from Senator Johnson. I was actually there the first 2 hours. How'd it go? Tell me about it.
Oh, so you're the landing party over here. That's fantastic. How'd it go for the first 2 hours?
It was amazing. I mean, pretty much every chapter of my book was checked off. So
seriously?
Yeah, seriously. So I was there with my wife. We were both invited, and we just looked at each other and said, okay, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. And I could see what's going on, and of course I was invited by you, so I stepped out, but I looked at the agenda, and it was clear what was coming up, and the next part actually was about propaganda and how it's orchestrated. And when I looked at the whole agenda, it was clear that we talk about the issues, what happened, but the big question is why it happened. So is it about money? Is it about transformation of the society? It's certainly not about money, because if you just want to make money with a drug, you can make a proper drug that actually works. So the question is, why does a drug not work in the way it should? And there was a lot about this in the first hour. And the question remained, and I hope that my book delivers an answer. It shows that it helps actually to transform the human mind, as you rightly said. The human mind is attacked by the spike protein, and it's not about curing a disease or preventing a disease. It's not about it's not even about all the collateral damage that is done, because the key issue is, in my opinion, and all pieces of the puzzle work perfectly together. It shows that the attack is on the human autobiographical memory center, meaning that it destroys our personality. And
hang on 1 second.
In order for all these speakers to be here today, with each proving that something extremely devilish is afoot, my area of research had to come first and is the primary building block of everything else being currently addressed. You cannot produce any of these death-centric results in this many areas without this primary cornerstone being in place first, which is information manipulation and modern high-tech censorship. Modern censorship isn't just about hiding the truth or creating spin for one political agenda or another. Modern censorship is part and parcel of hijacking the genetic group pressure mechanisms and group affiliation software, which all humans hold within each cell in their bodies.
This is they're preaching the gospel according to you, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Okay, here's the way it works. When my voice starts, then you can take the thing down, Denver. Okay, we got it? We got it? I just want to make sure we're in total control here. In the war room, we spend 4 days on the road, and we're out of control already. Yes, sir.
Total control is actually the key word here.
What do you mean by that?
Well,
yeah,
sure.
I'm going to train the doctor eventually that the mic, you got to, we're low tech. You got to talk into the mic.
Yeah, sure. I will. Yeah, total control. You just mentioned that, we're here in the studio, but it's about total control in the world, and that's what's going on. And
this is not a wingnut conspiracy theory. I mean, the guys at Media Matters are not looking at us right now, and that we should be putting tinfoil hats on, and everything you see over this great great hearing that Senator Johnson's putting on is just a group of disaffected kooks.
No, certainly not. I mean, it's clear what's happening. I mean, they put out a drug. It's not even a drug; it's a toxin that, as I can clearly show with proven peer-reviewed publications, that it attacks the brain, the part of the brain that is responsible for decision making, for our beliefs, for personality, for the ability to doubt what's going on. So if you cut that down, you shut down the mental immune system, but even more, you allow information to flow freely into your brain and occupy essentially your previous memories, which means if you want to control people, you have to control this flow of information. Otherwise, people become suspicious, something might be wrong. But if you control, as we just heard from the meeting itself, if you control this flow of information, if you have total control of the flow of information, then you control the future of human thinking, of the human minds, and their acceptance of a world government at the end.
Do you have to have the vaccine with what it does to the brain? Your theory of the case is that the vaccine had certain attributes to it that would push this program farther down the path.
Yeah,
is that an integral part of what you define as the plan for this transformation?
Well, it's an eye opener to it, actually, because the vaccine, let's call it vaccine. Now, I don't want to call it vaccine. It's a spiking program. It's delivering the mRNA of a spike protein, and the spike.
I call it a experimental gene therapy.
Yeah, that's what it is fundamentally. Yes. But practically speaking, it delivers the spike protein to all our cells. I mean, the mRNA, but eventually the spike protein, and particularly a modified spike version, a version of the spike protein after the cleavage that takes place after they did this bioweaponizing introduction of the furin cleavage site. You have this S1 subunit, and the S1 subunit is able to transverse into the blood, into the brain over the blood-brain barrier. And here it's clearly shown, and we see that there's sufficient evidence. It shows that once it enters the brain, it activates the immune system in the brain. And if it activates the immune system of the brain, it shuts down the function of the mental immune system. It shuts down the production of nerve cells that should be produced in order for us to have mental energy to think, to have a high level of resilience, to be curious, and even to be able to have doubt about things that are happening. So that is shut down by this spike protein. It was known already in 2007, 2008 from analysis of the SARS-CoV-1 virus that this is possible, and the modifications they made by introducing the spike, the furin cleavage site into the spike protein, allowed essentially now to have a more efficient bioweapon, which is essentially targeting the brain.
This was done both under Fauci at some U.S. labs and working on and doing gain of function, which they shouldn't have been done. There was really banned at the time, but a lot of it came in Wuhan. In the as much as they perfected this as a bioweapon with that cleavage, and was that, you believe in your research, more done at Wuhan? Was it already done in the community because they wanted to, the both under Fauci and other groups in other countries were driving towards this? Or how do you think that the final perfection, or as close as they could perfect it as a bioweapon, where did it get done and when did it get done?
Well, it was proposed by a think tank to the DARPA. I think it was in 2018, so it was clear the thought was out there already. In 2019, it was out there. So the question is where it happened. I don't know.
Well, 2019 it was already out.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was out there already.
But I'm saying
the virus was out there.
Yeah, I'm saying the actual working on the virus. Do you have any sense of when that really got ramped up? Was that more Wuhan eccentric and CCP, or was it this kind of global, the temple of research of these guys like Fauci?
Well, it was already clear in 2006, 2007 what the SARS-CoV-1 can do, and that you have to improve the spike.
This is SARS-1s where we never got a vaccine at all.
No. It was a virus that attempted to make a pandemic and didn't make it. And then the Nobel Prize was actually given for the mRNA last year, the mRNA program. And the guys who were interviewed, the Nobel Prize winner, said, yeah, we had the idea 15 years ago. And I look back 15 years ago, it was clear that the spike protein at that time was published to increase the inflammation in the brain. And it was already clear at that time that the inflammation of the brain shuts down the immune system of the brain. I mean, the mental immune system, our ability to think. And so I think the great idea was born at that time.
A great idea, an evil idea.
Yeah, the great evil idea. I mean, it's evil, but it's also fantastic if you look at it. I mean, if you are a science fiction writer, this is.
Or if you're one of these people that want to try to actually transform it. If you also see simultaneously what could be the projections of what they're talking about, the singularity, convergence on biogenetic technology and artificial intelligence, it wouldn't be a better time to basically dumb down the cattle herd, right, so they can be easily replaced. If you want to get to under 1 billion people, if you think your carrying capacity of Earth, which they do, they've walked me through the mathematics, some of the top guys, they think the carrying capacity of the Earth is under 1 billion human beings.
Well, that depends on how you feed people. And I mean, if you eat cattle every day, then it might be a problem, because people create a lot of waste and you need a lot of food for the animals. It's quite simple. If you get the proteins from plants, you have a tenfold higher, level of nutrition. And so there could be different ways to feed people, and numbers then are around 12 billion. That's last.
But you make the argument that this, at the early 20th century or 21st century, this actually became a program, correct?
Yeah, the question is this only about decimating people? I don't think so. I mean, if you want to decimate the population, there are better ways to do that, unfortunately. If you really want to decimate people, I think the decimation or even the accelerated cancer, what we see, the autoimmune diseases, and all these kind of things, myocarditis or whatever, all these diseases are only side effects, in my opinion. The idea is, and my book is a counter-narrative, a humane counter-narrative to Schwab's book, COVID and the Great Reset. There is a different way we can reset our world, in a humane, cultural way, where we actually develop our own ideas, not artificial intelligence is doing it on the whim of some technocrats. There are different ways to do that, and what is going to be installed in the human society is a new operation system. I call it a new social operating system, and you can abbreviate it with SOS. Save our souls. And that's the point. They want to introduce a new operating system. That's what all the agenda is in Davos, to a new operating system in society. And we all know, if you want to install a new operating system in a computer, for example, you have to erase the previous
system.
And that's exactly what the spike protein